Hey there folks, hope everyone's well. Today's video is another roll video, bit different recipe from the previous one I've shown you. This one takes a little bit more time, but gives you a gorgeous roll. It's traditional Scottish rolls, so let's crack on, hope you enjoy them. So the first thing we need to do is measure out 750 grams of very strong white bread flour. Basically, any flour that has 14 grams of protein should fall within that stipulation. To the flour we want to add 3 teaspoons of fast action, or otherwise known as easy bake yeast. Then to the same bowl we're going to add 1.5 teaspoons of table salt and 1.5 teaspoons of white granulated sugar. Then grab yourself a whisk and give everything a wee quick mix together. We then need to measure out 490 millilitres of lukewarm water, somewhere in the range of 39 to 45 degrees Celsius. We can do this by 2 parts cold to 1 part hot, so we're talking roughly 330 millilitres of cold water, and the remainder makes up your boiling water. Should give you 39 to 45 degrees approximately. Now take your bowl over to your food mixer. If you want to do it, you can also knead by hand, but I have a food mixer, so I'm definitely going to be using it. So take it over and add 2 tablespoons of olive oil. And once the oil's in, turn on your food mixer at a really low speed, basically the minimum for your mixer that it can handle. Get the oil starting to mix into the flour before we then gradually add our water. Once all your water's been added, we're looking for our dough to come fully together before we then knead at kneading speed for your machine for 12 minutes or knead by hand for 12 minutes. If you're doing it on a machine at the very beginning, you may need to grab a spatula and just knock anything down that might be sticking to the sides, just until we get everything fully combined. And then, as I say, knead for 12 minutes. Now, as you see here, some of the dough may be adhering to the bottom of your mixer as you mix it. Perfectly normal, perfectly what to expect for this mixture of dough. What we're looking for by the time we're done is a really smooth consistency, but yes, you're still going to have some of that stickiness, some of that tackiness at the bottom. And prior to removing your dough from your food mixer's bowl, give your hands a quick spray with some cooking oil. It just helps stop the dough sticking to them. Then give your proving bowl, a larger mixing bowl, a spray with some oil and just rub it round the sides. Now stick your hands into the bowl and remove the dough. As you see here, some will want to stick. If you need to, grab yourself a dough spatula or any other silicone type spatula and just scrape out what's left at the bottom of the bowl. It's not an issue, it's what you expect for this dough. Then take your dough and just shape it into a nice ball, smooth it out, and then we're going to cover it to let it rise. We want to let this dough rise covered in a warm place for about an hour and 5 minutes, basically until it's doubled in size. What I'm seeing me doing there is just again spraying the top, because this will expand and fill this entire bowl that you see here. And now, whilst the first rise is happening, take and fill a large baking tray in the bottom of your oven with about 250 millilitres of water, 150 to 250, somewhere there or thereabouts, just to help promote steam as the oven cooks them later on. 1 hour 5 minutes later, our first rise is complete and we have a lovely well-risen dough that's completely doubled in size. Now what we want to do is take ourselves some more oil, give our hands a wee light spray again just to stop any stickiness, grab yourself a dough scraper and take the dough out of the bowl. And using a dough cutter, we want to divide this into 12 equal parts, roughly about 105 grams each, there or thereabouts, and that will give us 12 rolls of about the same weight, close as damn anyway. And then we want to take each of our 12 cuttings of dough and roll them into balls and place them on a silicone lined baking tray. You'll need 2 baking trays, don't worry if they're a bit close together on each of the trays. They will expand, they will join just the way you often see rolls in the shops. And once we have all 12 made up, they don't need to be perfectly round, but relatively smooth. We want to take a flour sack cloth. These are lighter than tea cloths, that's why I use them. But take a flour sack cloth and cover each tray, and we're going to leave this for an hour and 10 minutes for our second rise, and it should be doubled in size by the end of that. Before the second rise is completed, take and preheat your oven to 200 degrees Celsius. And once the rise is over, uncover them, and we're going to grab a sprayer and we're going to mist water over the top of our rolls. Before taking some of our strong bread flour that we previously used, so very strong bread flour to be exact, and then we're going to rub that in, just massage it onto the top of our rolls, and that will give us a nice floury texture, or at least on the ones that we are flour rolling, because I'm not dusting all of the ones here with flour, just some. We then want to bake our rolls at 200 degrees Celsius in our oven that's already got the water at the bottom to help promote steam. The water we've sprayed on again helps promote a dampness to the edge of your roll, which helps build the crust but leaves the soft interior, the nice fluffy interior that we're looking for. And when you remove your rolls from the oven, if you tap the bottom of them, they should sound and feel hollow. If that's what you're getting, take and transfer them to a wire baking rack to allow them to cool. If you didn't get that, pop them back in for another couple of minutes, but you really should have got that. So if that's what we've got, transfer them over. We're then going to cover them in flour sack cloths. The reason we do that is, again, it helps retain the moisture and the fluffiness inside your roll whilst allowing that nice crust to form on the outside. So as you see, it's easy enough to do, not much to it. Again, another very simple recipe. Compared to my other roll recipe, it does take a bit longer because you're proving them for longer, you're giving the second prove a bit longer, and you're doing a couple little detailing things like making proper rolls, not proper rolls, proper rolls, not proper rolls, because this is the way me and my boy like them. We like ours floured. The wife, who's from the East Coast, doesn't like the flour on her rolls. Must be an Edinburgh thing. Proper rolls, not proper rolls. Just kidding. Do whatever way you like them. You can make them all in the same batch as I've shown you. Do it the way you prefer, but I just like it with the flour on top. The missus doesn't. So that's how it goes. Thanks for watching, folks. All the best. Take care.